Hey, it's Arcsecond. In this video I'll cover why 8.10 was the worst patch in League of Legends history. First, I want to talk about what I think the ideal patch and patch structure looks like, which is a discussion that's been brought up by a Double's recent video, which I'll link in the description below. So first, for the patch structure, I like having a patch every 2 weeks that is of medium size. And when a big patch does happen, I think they should obviously be placed in preseason and then after the first competitive split. So once all of the regions have played out their final competitive games, that's when the biggest patch should hit. And after a big patch, the following patches or patches should probably be a little bit smaller to make adjustments towards those big patches. And then the ideal patch should always have a good amount of champion changes, which should be increasing in my opinion over time because now we have around 140 champions. So at least 10 champions should be adjusted every patch. There should also be, right now with the runes are forged, some rune changes are good, and then some slight gameplay and meta changes should also be thrown in, along with some item tweaks, etc. And so that's what I think. And then most importantly, the changes in the patch should meet and be directed towards the goals of Riot. So they should match the Riot's intentions. I think that's the most important. All right, so let's get into the actual patch. So previously in patch 8.9, we had a huge patch that dealt with the mana changes. That dealt with mana and wave clear. So in this patch 8.10, there are no adjustment changes. No adjustment changes to a huge patch previously in 8.9. So now let's get into actual champions. Here we have Sion. This change is not bad. Targeting the poke and wave clear, not bad. We have a slight change to Muno, slight change to Poppy. Zach getting some AP ratio changes, slight mana change to Bard, and then a slight quality of life change to Kindred. And that's all the changes. The actual numbers aren't that important, but we have so few champions being adjusted, especially, and another part that's really important, if we know huge indirect buffs or nerfs are coming towards champions, it'd be really nice if they were adjusted within the same patch, if they're really obvious. If it's really obvious that a champion's going to need help because of changes that are coming in below, and at latest they should be adjusted next patch. The other thing is, there's so many other strong champions right now that just aren't being dealt with. This is the patch pre-nerf Zoe, pre-nerf Aurelia, along with numerous other champions. And then these are all the champion changes we're getting. Alright, but now into the actual meta changes. So, items. So one of their goals for this patch, mage junglers. They've been scarce, Riot wants to make them more common. So what did they do? They took away the movement speed, added 10% CDR and 300 mana. This movement speed was so valuable, and then this build path is so much worse. Lost Chapter is a terrible build path. The Aether Wisp was so efficient and so nice to build out of. You go your Smite upgrade, then Aether Wisp, and then go straight into Runic Echoes. And then you could skip boots if you wanted to because you had this movement speed. And so you could finish that for better dueling. So they added mana. When you get this late and still not good to buy, 10% CDR, super common stat, just so much weaker stat than movement speed. So what they've had to do to make this item even balanced now, they've added 20 AP. And even with that 20 AP, I would still rather have the old Runic Echoes. And 20 AP is a ton. That's just how they've had to balance it to match warriors. And that's been one of the big issues. But most importantly, what matters the most is the first clear. The one you do with your first, with Talisman or Machete. That's the most important. Jungle is an early game role. And that's really important that that's understood. So jungle is an early game role, and then this change basically just killed all the AP junglers. Also the mana, so think about a jungler, so like Zach got AP ratio changes. Now the item has mana, no movement speed, and you get some CDR. So even less efficient for like a lot of other champions who don't even use the mana. That's why they've had to add 20 AP just to make it balanced. So huge nerf to mage junglers, which is what they're trying to increase. Now, warding totem. They've increased the ward duration, but you place less wards. So basically, how you ward now is you place a ward level 1, you reward it, and then you switch to your trinket, or you switch to sweeper or blue trinket. Warding used to be a nice skill in League. Now it's basically non-existent for the majority of roles. You place your one ward, you place an island bush if you're around mid, and that's basically it. So warding huge nerf to the skill cap of warding just throughout and through this patch, or through this change. Support and jungle item exclusivity. So jungle is basically another support role. In old patches, you used to build Heart of Gold, a GP10 item on jungle, because they need more gold. But yeah, so they removed that. Not the end of the world. For runes, this is good. So we have rune adjustments. This is something I'd like to see more of. I'll make a separate video on the rune system in general, what needs to be updated. Again, the actual number changes don't matter too much. Here's the big part. Now we're getting into the jungle. So camp experience was adjusted, and let's see why. Junglers have had too much of an impact in the early game. Specifically, they've too frequently been able to gank at level 3 before solo laners have even reached that level. So what did they do? They made it so you hit level 3 off 4 camps now. So what does that mean? You're level 2 for a longer period of time. In other words, level 2 junglers are stronger, and it's more rewarding to gank earlier and do more during that window. As in, you can invade, it's more rewarding. So all level 2 junglers automatically buffed. 2 who are already extremely strong on this patch were Graves and Zhao. There's no nerfs for them, and they're going to get even stronger with the upcoming Rift Scuttler change. We'll get to that, but more on this. On the actual experience changes, level 2 ganks have always been considered cheese in League history. Now they're the strongest, now they're meta. Now, yeah, I'll talk about the root in a second after we get to Rift Scuttler, because we need that information. So level 2 ganks have always been cheese. It speeds up the game, it makes the game more snowbally, it really kills jungle diversity. Another champion, so one of their goals, right, was mage junglers they want more mage junglers. Mage champions are generally ability-based champion, yet we have a level 2 jungle meta, so you don't even get all 3 of your abilities. A champion like Elise, who relied on the movement speed from Runic Echoes, also got nerfed through the item changes, the talisman that we'll get to, and then is the strongest level 3 jungler, the core level 3 jungler, now in a level 2 jungle, completely nerfed, no adjustment changes above either. I really don't think League can exist with level 3 or level 2 jungle meta. It's really important. And then also how it plays into Rift Scuttler. Scuttle spawns basically right after your first camp. And let's talk about Rift Scuttler. So they want Rift Scuttler to be more rewarding, and so they want to encourage more interaction between junglers and teams as the game progresses. This would be good. Okay, as the game progresses. Yet it's so strong. The most important one is the first 2, the ones that spawn on both sides of the map, and they also added some more RNG. The locations past the first 2 are determined randomly. And that's just something you never want to see in a competitive game, so any RNG obviously bad. But so how Rift Scuttler works is now there's a path you do red. So let's say your bot red side. You do red, you gank mid, then you go to the top side Rift Scuttler, and then you can gank top. And that's the interaction. That's like a route you can do now. And it's so rewarding to contest these Rift Scuttlers. Instead, the game, and also what this does, because now there's more objectives, right? Keeps adding more strong objectives like Rift Scuttler, Rift Herald. It's really forcing you to play early game champions. All of these changes, especially the level 2 jungle meta, plus Rift Scuttlers, encouraging basically kills late game champions. You have to play lane dominant, pressured champions. And so this change could have been really good if it scaled. You could make it spawn later, or like in a level 3 jungle meta, it'd be fine. Everyone hits level 3, and that would slow down the ganks as well. If they had to contest the scuttle, they do the first 3 camps and then fight for scuttle on either side, or try to contest both. Or level 2 jungle, if it still spawned earlier, could still contest it, do it in their route. They would get that advantage early, and then the other jungler would be level 3 and could play with that advantage to really even out the meta and really balance out the game. And then on to items. This change was actually worked fairly well. The Hunter's Talisman for keeping mage damage or ability-based champions pretty healthy in the jungle. And it gave them a good amount of mana as well. So this actually really helped the mage junglers. This change was pretty good. And then you lost the attack speed though. This is pretty important. This is probably like an adjustment change that would be nice to see on the following patch. And so that pretty much covers the jungle change. And so this is like, there's so much, especially this camp change, or this camp experience change changes so much about the game. I think the whole game's really balanced around the level 3 jungle meta. This could have been split up easily into 3 different patches, right? A Rift Scuttler patch, a camp experience patch, and then a Runic Echoes plus Hunter Talisman Hunter's Machete change, right? This could have been 3 different patches that would have made it really exciting, because now we have such big patches. And we also know that 8.11 hits after this one that's almost bigger, which the ADCA changes. A lot of these changes get overlooked, and now what they have to do, now we have like 8.14, we're most likely gonna have a lot of dead patches. So I would prefer if they just spread these out, and then you have exciting patches every 2 weeks, or latest every month, and you can make way better balance within the game, because you can really follow up on how changes like these affected the game. And a lot of them we already know. We already know this buffs level 2 junglers and really hurts level 3 junglers, especially if they're an early game level 3 jungler like Elise. So it'd be really nice if adjustments were seen this patch or in latest next patch. We're still not done with the patch though. Also bounties. The last part of the patch. So currently rewards a player gets performing well are 2 split against the whole team. Okay, so they changed it. So bounties are now no longer split amongst the team, but they go to the killer, only the killer. This isn't how you carry though, and this isn't how you like perform well. Performing well, carrying are based on pushing advantages, abusing weaknesses. Going for like if you're playing solo, or like as a solo carry, you can't go for you don't want to go for the enemy carry. You want to go for the weaklings. You're not going, the only way you're normally going, and it's possible to go for someone who has a bounty, who is a raid boss, is with the help of your team. It should be something that's split amongst the team, because let's say you're 5-0 in lane, or you're playing against someone who's 5-0 and you're 0-5. How you could carry harder is if each kill that the player got after the first one, because it goes down, gave that person more gold. That would make it better for the 5-0 player. And the 0-5 player, it's basically impossible for him to kill that 5-0 player by himself, unless maybe it's an 0-10 Yasuo and he's hitting that power spike. So because he relies on the help of his team, or he or she, the champion, to get that kill. That's not how you play. The 0-5 player is looking for advantages, other advantages that aren't on that raid boss. So it doesn't really fit their intended goals. It doesn't fit how you carry. Dealing with the raid boss almost there is hardly the correct play when trying to carry, and just hardly the correct play. And it's almost always, if it's the correct play, it's almost always a team play, and there will be more players involved. And so especially with the champion like Pyke, there's also some awkward interactions now. Like with Pyke, the extra gold isn't split. Pyke gets the gold with the ults, with the execute and stuff like that. So yeah, really not a fan of the bounty change. If anything, you do the opposite, like I mentioned, and that's really how you carry. But I can talk more about how you actually carry and why carrying has kind of become harder now later on. But one of the changes in this patch is, again, the warding change. The skill cap's been lower. You have less. You just have a lower skill cap, so it's harder to carry. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. All the changes within this patch. And the worst part, again, is it's being overlooked a lot by 8.11. I got 8.9 really wasn't really dealt with. No changes in there. So few champion changes, so few adjustments. One of the worst changes in the game, I think, is having a level 2 jungle meta. Really increases snowballing, really decreases game length, especially with the Rift Scuttler. One of the things that's so extra rewarding now is invading. So you can like invade, maybe get a kill, take the red, go to scuttle, go for another gank, and the game's basically over by then, because there's so much rewards at the beginning of the game, partly because of the scuttle, and because it's hard for an enemy jungler to catch up because of the level 2 jungle meta. So the game's kind of a lot quicker, a lot more snowballing, a lot less skilled, and those are things we don't want to see in League of Legends. And so yeah, I think that just about covers it. Thank you so much for watching.